G'day, welcome one and all to another installment of Guvs Hero and Impression Reviews. This time we are going to take a look at the 5-star legendary red hero from the Christmas seasonal event, Rudolph. So being a member of a seasonal event family, Rudolph is of extremely limited summons availability, appearing only during this Christmas portal, which runs, fortunately, for the entire month of December each year. So it does only come around once a year, but it is open for an entire month. So it does probably equal out to the same summons availability as most other heroes. So interesting thing with the seasonal portals is that you can use your epic hero tickets. So it is an opportunity to save them up and use them in these portals. Now, Rudolph is a 5-star red hero with the title of being the Festive Peacekeeper. He has been in the game for quite a while now. He was an OG release seasonal event hero when the first Christmas portal originally came into the game. I can't really call it a Christmas event because at the time of this recording, 4 years on, we still don't actually have an actual event. So it's really just a Christmas portal with a sales calendar attached. If we have a look at his artwork real quick, I'll just pull up one of my Rudolph. It does vaguely play on that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer concept. So he's got the reindeer horns, it's got a lot of that festive elements with the Christmas sweater, some gift wrapping around his weapon, Christmas baubles and all that kind of thing. There's even a little nod to the family with the jingle bells on his antlers. But yeah, so that's what his full artwork looks like. Feel free to pause and look in greater detail if you so choose. Heading back over to his card, so he is a member, as I said, of the Jingle Bells family. So what this family bonus is that each time Rudolph fires his special skill, he will summon an elf minion for himself with 8% attack and 8% HP inherited from his stats. If there are additional unique members of the Jingle Bells family in your attack team or defense team, as it might be, the elf minion does inherit an additional 2% health and 2% attack. For me, this is probably the worst of the family bonuses. It's nothing against Rudolph, it's just this whole Jingle Bells family bonus. I just don't like it. The fact that it's one minion and it's not even a very good minion, it just sort of throws me off. So overall, I think it's probably the worst one. The only one that's worse than the Jingle Bells family is the Vanilla or Hero of the Month family bonus, which doesn't exist. Otherwise, I just don't like this family bonus. I think it's effectively nothing. So yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. In terms of his personal stats, Rudolph does have 750 attack, 612 defense, and 1,392 HP. So it is a fair skewing away from the defense stat towards the attack. His HP stat, though, is pretty average, so he's not really suffered on the health side of things, just lost a lot of defense going towards that attack stat. His charge speed is 43 or average, so this requires 11 tiles to charge or 6 ghosted tiles. To get a speed break, you do need to get a +7 speed, which you can achieve using a 4-star weapon or a variety of 5-star weapons in the game. Class-wise, Rudolph is a member of the Sentry class. Now, the Sentry class grants the chance to gain 5% armor after receiving any damage. I don't mind this perk, as the damage can come from any source, so it can come from tiles, minions, special skills, slash attacks, whatever, or even damage over time. The downside is that it doesn't matter how much damage you get or how many instances of damage you take, it only can proc once at the end of the turn. So you can take damage 15 times, but you still only get one chance to actually have the Sentry class kick in. So that is a little bit of a downside. In terms of an emblem path, I will just pull up one of my Rudolphs because I have put some emblems on mine. Not that, you clown, this one. So this is the emblem path that I took. I personally went an attack route on mine, so you can see I've picked up all of the attack nodes the whole way down. And then I sort of took, I think, defense as a secondary perk where I had to choose between attack and defense and HP with an attack node. So this is the route I took. An equal argument can actually be made, probably a better argument realistically, to go a defense HP route. and that will increase his survivability. So where it would actually differ is we'd still take probably the defense node here. Actually, no, realistically, you could probably take that node for the HP, that node, come this way, that way, and then finish off with the attacked HP one on the bottom here. So that's probably a more sensible route if you're wanting to prolong his livelihood, and also give a little bit more boost to that minion that he can summon for himself. But for me, I like using Rudolph in attack situations, so I use him for his damage output in tiles and stuff, so I went the attack route. But yeah, either way, you're probably not going to be disappointed with your use of Rudolph. Heading back to the card in the portal, which is unaffected by any of those silly little emblems, we'll take a look at his special skill. So his special skill is titled Party Crasher, and at level 10 skill and 43 speed, it will deal 185% damage to all enemies. All enemies will then get minus 48% defense against red for 3 turns, and then it will remove all buffs from the enemies and gain 38 armor per each buff that is removed. So if we break that down a little bit, starting with his damage, so there are about 9 DOA 5 red heroes, or damage over area, or area of effect. So heroes that hit 5 enemies. There's about 9 of these in the red 5-star arena at the moment. So an easy way of comparing them is on their attack power. Now, attack power is just a metric, which is their percentage on their skill multiplied by their attack stat. So if we look at Rudolph has 750 attack, multiply that by 185%. So we're dealing 1388 attack power onto each of the 5 enemies. Because not all the heroes have the same speed, I do like to normalize it all against the number of tiles they require to charge. So Rudolph requires 11 tiles, so dividing that 1388 by 11 results in 126 attack power per tile. So some of the other options in red that do hit all enemies, you've got Barbed Wire. Barbed Wire is a hell of a good attacking hero, particularly if you do pair her with Rudolph, but that's the topic for another video. She's got an attack power per tile of 144. It actually goes up to 173 attack power per tile if she's hitting enemies with armor. You've also got ones in there like Wheels, he's 124. There's actually 3 heroes on 124 attack power per tile. So you got Wheels, Marina Variant, and Flow. And then down the bottom of the list, you've got Cutlass on 100 attack power per tile. An interesting one into this mix is actually Scarlet. Now, Scarlet does 136% damage each turn for 3 turns. So just on her first attack, it's only 77, but by the end of it, she's got, if you add up all 3 of her attacks, it's 231 attack power per tile. So Scarlet is a really interesting and a really good hitter. But Rudolph comes in at number 3, beaten only by Barbed Wire and Scarlet. So yeah, pretty decent in terms of his raw damage output. And that's considering the fact that the damage output isn't even, I would say, his best aspect of his skill. I would argue, and we'll move on to this, that the best parts of his special skill is actually this second and third lines. So the second line reads that it will apply a negative 48% defense debuff against red to all enemies. So this effect is hugely beneficial in pretty much every aspect of the game. So anytime that you're going to use a red stack, this debuff will boost the total team damage output. And it is arguably one of the best debuffs you can have in the game. It's useful against war machines, it's useful in raiding, it's useful in wars, it's useful in events. Yeah, it's fantastic. So red is actually a little bit interesting because there is a range of elemental debuff heroes you can choose from. There's actually 3 options. You've got Rudolph, there's Cutlass, who I mentioned just a little bit ago, and there's actually even a 3-star hero in Pumpernickel, which is really interesting. So the defense debuff, very, very good skill to have. The third and the fourth lines, I'm going to combine them because they're effectively paired anyway, but these are also very useful, particularly seeing as there's a lot of popularity at the moment for using a Yuumi as a green tank in war situations. So this effect, which is the removal of buffs, it's always fantastic. It's better if it appears first in the special skill, because then it means it does it before things like counterattack or defense debuffs happen. Defense buffs happen in the calculations. But because Rudolph actually will gain armor for each buff that he removes, it kind of, opposes the counterattack damage. It goes a little way towards reversing the damage that he might receive from counterattack. But yeah, that buff removal is very, very, very useful in, again, raiding and war attacks and that sort of thing. So overall, Rudolph is an extremely awesome hero. He has got so much versatility. You can use him just about everywhere that you would use a red stack. The elemental debuff alone makes him one of the most sought after heroes and will complement literally any team using multiple red heroes. The buff removal and even that damage, they're just like a little cherry on top of the cake. So for Rudolph's grading, I am going to rate him as being an A for war/raid attacks, and A+ for war machines, just because of that defense debuff. I'm going to give him an A for events. For war and raid defenses, I am going to knock him all the way down to a C, and that's just because he's not really defensively inclined hero. He doesn't really complement a defense team or offer any defensive synergies, unless you're stacking multiple red heroes on your defense team, which is dicey, shall we say. For tournaments, Bloody Battle, a B+ and a C-. He does lose a little bit because he can't gain the armor, but still very, very useful. For buff boosting, I'm going to knock him up to an A+ as well, just because everyone tries to stack buffs on the defense. He removes those buffs, so that's really awesome. And also a B for his defense. B for defense in buff booster tournaments. For charged attack tournaments, an A or an A-. Actually, no, I'll leave him at an A, and a C+ for defense. So he does pick up a little bit of a speed improvement. So overall, that comes out as being an A for attack purposes and a C+ for defense purposes. So yeah, that concludes the content of this review of Rudolph. As always, this is just my personal opinion. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on these heroes, so please do jump down into the comments section of the video, drop me a note, tell me your thoughts. I love reading them, and I always try to reply to as many as I can. As well, if you found the video to be good, useful, and whatever, like it, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share the video around. If you found the contents of this video to be useful for you, chances are it's also going to be useful to your alliance mates and the people that you play with as well. So yeah, thanks once again for tuning in and joining me for this review of Rudolph. Hope it was good and useful, and good luck and happy gaming. Cheers, bye.